Have you ever considered that the things you hold onto in your home may be shaping your life in ways unseen? Some bring peace and clarity, while others silently cloud the mind, burden the heart, and hinder the path to true liberation. In this teaching, I will share with you 5 things that must be removed from your home if you wish to cultivate harmony, clarity, and spiritual well-being. And the 5th one? It is something so common, so familiar, that few realize the weight it carries upon their soul. Stay until the very end to discover what it is. Before we begin, if you find value in this wisdom, I invite you to support this journey with a like, a share, and a subscription to Lotus of Dharma. By doing so, you help bring these teachings to more hearts in need of clarity and peace. Now, take a deep breath, still your mind, and let us begin. 1. Broken and damaged items, letting go of imperfection. In this fleeting world, everything arises, exists for a time, and then fades away. To resist this truth is to grasp at illusions, clinging to things that no longer serve us. Yet, many people hold on to broken objects, believing that one day they might find a use for them or that their sentimental value outweighs their imperfection. A cracked mirror, a chipped cup, a fractured statue, these are not just lifeless things, they are silent echoes of our own unwillingness to let go. The burden of holding on. A home filled with broken things is like a heart weighed down by unresolved sorrow. Each time your eyes fall upon these fractured objects, even unconsciously, a part of you is reminded of what is lost, what is beyond repair. You may not notice, but the presence of such things subtly anchors you to the past, to stagnation, to energy that no longer nourishes but depletes. In the same way that a splinter left in the skin can fester, holding onto damaged objects can create an invisible heaviness in the heart. The Buddha taught that suffering arises from attachment, and this applies not only to our relationships and desires but also to the material things we surround ourselves with. The objects in your home should serve your well-being, not drag you into a cycle of regret or nostalgia. Moreover, beyond the unseen weight of sentiment, there is the tangible risk. A cracked mirror can wound the hand that touches it. A broken chair can give way at the wrong moment. Is it not curious how, in both the physical and spiritual realms, holding on to that which is broken often leads to harm? The wisdom of letting go. The river flows, the leaves fall, the seasons change, and we, too, must learn the wisdom of release. Clinging to what is broken is like trying to hold on to flowing water. It will only slip through our fingers, leaving us grasping at emptiness. When something has reached the end of its cycle, let it go with gratitude. The cup that once served you well, the old clock that marked many years, the statue that once stood tall, all of them have played their roles. Acknowledge their service, then free them from your possession. In doing so, you free yourself. If repair is possible, let it be a mindful act, a lesson in restoration and care. But if the object can no longer fulfill its purpose, release it without sorrow. This is the way of nature, the law of impermanence, anexa. Nothing stays the same, and this truth should not bring sadness, but liberation. The home as a reflection of the mind. Consider your home not merely as a shelter, but as a sacred space, a reflection of your inner world. A place where harmony resides, where peace breathes in the open spaces. A house crowded with broken things is like a mind cluttered with attachments. The more you clear away, the more you make room for clarity, for serenity, for new blessings to enter. Ask yourself, does this object bring me joy, or does it weigh on my heart? Does it serve a purpose, or does it merely remind me of something lost? The past is a river that has already flowed by. Do not keep relics of decay when the present moment calls you to life. Let your home be a sanctuary, not a graveyard of things you cannot release. Let it be a place of renewal, where every item has a purpose, where every space allows breath and light to flow freely. The practice of letting go is not merely about objects, it is about transforming the way we live, about understanding that true peace comes not from possessing, but from knowing when to release. Let go, and see how light your spirit becomes. To unnecessary clutter, embracing simplicity for a peaceful mind. Look around you. Observe the objects that fill your home, the things you have gathered over the years. Are they serving you, or are you serving them? A cluttered home is a reflection of a cluttered mind. When we accumulate beyond our needs, we do not just crowd our physical space, we burden our hearts and spirits. Every item in your home demands something from you, a place to store it, time to clean it, and mental energy to remember it. The more you own, the more you must care for. This is the weight of attachment, and it is this weight that keeps us from knowing true freedom. The burden of possessions. The Buddha taught, desire is the root of suffering. Not only does this apply to craving what we do not have, but also to clinging to what we already possess. Every unnecessary item you keep is a thread in the web of attachment. And just as a spider becomes trapped in its own web, so too does the mind become entangled in excess. A house filled with objects is not necessarily a home of peace. The more we collect, the more we must manage, clean, and organize. Each object demands attention. The things we once desired become burdens to maintain. We spend our precious time and energy tending to them instead of tending to the stillness within. A crowded room narrows the mind. A cluttered space makes it harder to breathe, to move, and to rest. When your eyes scan a room filled with unnecessary items, your mind also becomes filled with distraction. It is not the weight of objects themselves that exhausts us, but the weight of attachment to them. The path to simplicity. To free yourself from the burden of excess, you must first recognize this truth: nothing you own is truly yours. Everything is borrowed from the impermanence of life. What you hold today will one day return to dust. The wise do not cling to what must inevitably pass. Instead of seeking more, seek clarity. Instead of accumulating, learn to let go. Here are a few steps to begin your journey. The 1-year rule: if an object has not served you in the past year, let it go. Do not hold on to things simply because you once thought they might be useful. The value rule: keep only what serves a purpose or brings true joy. A thing without purpose is like a guest who overstays their welcome, it drains the home of its vitality. Mindful organization: arrange your belongings with care, not just for the sake of order, but as a practice of mindfulness. A well-organized space reflects a well-ordered mind. Simplicity is not about having nothing, but about having only what is needed. When we free our surroundings of excess, we also free the mind. Detachment, the key to liberation. Buddhism teaches that attachment is the root of suffering. It is not the object itself that binds us, but the meaning we assign to it. If you believe your happiness depends on what you own, then your peace will always be fragile. A monk walks with only a bowl and robe, yet he carries the wealth of the universe. His heart is unburdened because he knows that true contentment is not found in accumulation but in freedom from need. Ask yourself, how much do I truly need? The more you release, the lighter you will feel. Letting go is not a loss, but a return to space, to clarity, to peace. Your home is a reflection of your inner world. Empty the excess, and you will find that what remains is what truly matters. Simplicity is not deprivation, it is the ultimate abundance. When you remove what does not serve you, what remains is all that you ever needed: peace. 3 gifts with negative associations: releasing emotional baggage. There is a great burden that we carry, not upon our shoulders, but within our hearts, the burden of the past. It lingers in the form of objects, tucked away in drawers and hidden in corners, whispering silent stories of pain and sorrow. These gifts, given in moments long gone, may have once held meaning, but if their presence now stirs only discomfort or sadness, then they no longer serve us. Buddhism teaches that all things in life are impermanent. Anicca, the truth of impermanence, reminds us that nothing remains unchanged. Relationships shift, people evolve, and our attachments must also loosen. Yet, so often, we find ourselves clinging to objects that tether us to a time that no longer exists. A necklace from a former lover, a book from a friend who turned away, a souvenir from a painful chapter. Such items are not merely things, they are echoes of emotions we have yet to release. The weight of unwanted gifts. We may tell ourselves that a gift is just an object, that it has no power. But this is not true. Every item holds the energy of the past. To see a gift that reminds us of betrayal, loss, or suffering is to invite those emotions back into our present. When we hold on to these objects, we do not merely store them in our homes, we store them in our minds. Some may say, but to throw it away would be ungrateful. It was given with good intentions. Yet, the true value of a gift lies not in its physical form, but in the moment it was given. That moment has passed. The act of receiving has already been completed. To cling to the object is to cling to a shadow. Guilt often binds us to these remnants. We believe that to let go is to disrespect the giver. But ask yourself, does the person who gave it to you wish for your suffering? Would they want you to carry pain just for the sake of obligation? If they gave with a pure heart, they would want you to be free. If they gave with ill intentions, then why keep the object at all? Letting go with gratitude and wisdom. The path to peace is not through accumulation, but through release. Just as a river must flow freely, unblocked by debris, so too must our lives move forward without being weighed down by unnecessary burdens. When we decide to part with these objects, we must do so not with resentment, but with gratitude. The Buddha taught that every experience, whether joyful or painful, has its place in our journey. That object, at one time, played its role. It carried lessons, emotions, and stories. Now, it has served its purpose. And so, we release it. How can we let go mindfully? 1. Acknowledge the intention, reflect on the giver's intention, and know that it was the act of giving, not the object itself, that mattered. If the item no longer aligns with your well-being, it is time to release it. 2. Pass it on. If the item can still bring joy to another, let it find a new home. To give it a second life is to transform past sorrow into present kindness. 3. Perform a letting go ritual. Before discarding or donating, take a moment to hold the object with awareness. Offer it your thanks. Recognize the lesson it brought, then send it on its way with a peaceful heart. Buddhist wisdom, non-attachment and the freedom of the present. The Buddha taught that dukkha, suffering, arises from attachment. When we hold on to what no longer serves us, we create suffering for ourselves. To release is not to forget, nor to deny, but to accept the impermanence of all things. If we wish to cultivate peace in our homes and in our hearts, we must clear away that which stirs unnecessary pain. A house should not be a storage place for regret. It should be a space of refuge, where the mind can rest, unburdened by the weight of yesterday. Imagine walking into your home and feeling only lightness, only calmness. No objects pulling you back, no silent reminders of wounds that should have healed. This is the gift we give ourselves when we practice letting go. A mind unchained by the past is free to embrace the present. A heart that releases sorrow is open to new joy. When we let go, we do not lose, we gain something far greater, the ability to move forward, unburdened, into a life of peace. For objects with negative energy, protecting the sacred space of your home. Everything in this world carries energy. Every object, every word, every thought, each one leaves an imprint on the space it inhabits. Just as a river carries the memory of the stones it has touched, so too do objects absorb the essence of the places and people they have been with. If an object has been surrounded by suffering, fear, or conflict, it may still hold traces of that energy, even if we do not perceive it with our eyes. In Buddhist teachings, we understand that the environment we cultivate both externally and within our own hearts greatly influences our well-being. A home should be a refuge, a place where the mind finds peace and the spirit is nourished. But when we unknowingly invite objects that carry unsettling energy, we may find our hearts restless, our thoughts clouded, and the harmony of our home disrupted. The problem: unseen forces that disturb the mind. It is not only living beings that hold energy. Objects, too, can carry the weight of past suffering. A second-hand piece of furniture from a home where there was great sorrow, an antique artifact with an unknown history, a talisman that was created with impure intentions, these things do not exist in isolation. They carry the energy of their past, much like a mirror holds the reflection of whatever stands before it. Many people keep objects of superstition, believing they offer protection, but if such objects were made from fear rather than wisdom, they may bring more disturbance than security. The Buddha taught that true protection comes not from external things, but from the purity of our own minds. If we rely on objects of unknown power, believing they will shield us from misfortune, we may only be trading one form of fear for another. The solution: creating a space of peace and positive energy. A home should be like a monastery, simple, serene, and filled only with that which nurtures wisdom and tranquility. If an object in your home makes you feel uneasy, if it carries a heaviness that you cannot explain, then listen to that feeling. The heart, when still, can sense what the mind may not yet understand. Buddhism teaches us that wisdom arises from observation. If an object does not bring peace, perhaps it is not meant to remain in your space. Consider these steps to ensure your home is a sanctuary for the mind. Observe with clarity, sit in silence and reflect: how does this object make you feel? Does it bring peace or disturbance? If it weighs on your heart, then it is not serving you. Cleanse with mindfulness. Just as a stream purifies itself by flowing, so too can a home be purified. Light incense, chant sacred verses, or practice mindful meditation to restore balance to your space. These practices are not about superstition, but about setting the right intention, one of peace, clarity, and kindness. Release with wisdom, let go of what no longer serves you, not with fear, but with gratitude. Return, discard, or donate the object in a respectful way, understanding that all things have their time and place. Holding on to something out of uncertainty only ties you to its energy. Buddhist wisdom, purifying the mind, not just the home. In the monasteries, monks keep only what is necessary. Not out of deprivation, but because simplicity allows for clarity. When there is too much clutter, whether in the home or in the heart, our energy becomes scattered, and the mind loses its stillness. The Buddha spoke of right surroundings, samavihara, the understanding that a peaceful environment supports a peaceful mind. A home filled with chaos, with objects that carry unsettling energy, becomes a reflection of an unsettled heart. But when we create a space of lightness, filled only with things that uplift and inspire, we cultivate an atmosphere where wisdom and compassion can flourish. Letting go of heavy objects is not an act of fear, but an act of love for oneself and for the sacredness of one's space. A true refuge is not built from walls or charms, but from the intention of those who dwell within it. May your home be a place of clarity, may it be a place of kindness, and may it always be filled with that which brings true peace. 5. Anger, resentment, and harsh words, the most important things to remove. In this fleeting existence, nothing burdens the heart more than anger. It is not the walls of a house that make it a home, nor the wealth that decorates it. It is the love, patience, and harmony shared among those who dwell within. Yet, when anger and resentment take root, even the grandest house becomes a place of suffering, and even the simplest hut, when filled with kindness, feels like a temple of peace. The invisible poison of negative emotions. Anger is a fire that does not discriminate, it consumes the one who holds it first. Resentment is like carrying a heavy stone on your back each day, it weighs you down, yet you refuse to put it down, believing that holding onto it somehow serves you. And words, once spoken in fury, are like arrows released from a bow. They cannot be retrieved, and they often wound deeper than a blade. A home where anger is nurtured becomes a battlefield, not a refuge. Harsh words, when repeated often, become the foundation upon which relationships crumble. Children who grow up in such an environment carry these wounds into adulthood, passing on the suffering from one generation to the next. A single moment of uncontrolled rage can leave scars that last a lifetime. We may cleanse our homes of dust and dirt, but have we cleansed the air of sharp words and bitterness? We may decorate our rooms with beauty, but do we decorate our speech with kindness? The heaviest burdens are often unseen, and among them, resentment is the most toxic. The path to liberation, loving speech and letting go of grudges. The Buddha taught that right speech, samvaya with matron ca with matron, is one of the pillars of a noble life. Speech should be truthful, beneficial, and gentle. It is not merely about avoiding lies, but about cultivating words that heal rather than harm. 3 practices to cultivate peace in the home. Pause before speaking. Before allowing anger to dictate your words, pause. Observe the rising fire within and ask yourself, will my words bring peace or suffering? Will they uplift or wound? A single breath of mindfulness can prevent years of regret. Apologize and forgive. To hold on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. Release the weight from your heart, not because others deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve peace. Speak with love. A home thrives on the daily nourishment of kind words. A simple thank you, I appreciate you, or I am grateful for you can transform the energy of an entire household. The Buddha once said, hatred does not cease by hatred, but by love alone. If we wish to remove suffering from our homes, we must begin with our own hearts. When love is spoken, it does not simply vanish, it lingers in the walls, in the air, in the very fabric of our lives. Buddhist wisdom, releasing anger for true freedom. Anger, my friends, is like grasping a burning coal with the intention of throwing it at another. It is we who are burned first. The more we hold onto it, the deeper it sinks into our being, poisoning our thoughts, actions, and even our health. The way to peace is not through winning arguments or proving oneself right, but through letting go. True victory is not in conquering another, but in conquering oneself. The one who remains calm in the face of provocation is stronger than the one who wins 100 battles. A house filled with love, even if small and simple, is a paradise. But a mansion filled with anger and resentment is no different from a prison. When we remove anger from our homes, we are not just cleaning the space, we are freeing ourselves from suffering. Let us not wait for death to find peace, let us create it here, now, within our own hearts and within the walls of our home. Only then will our dwelling truly be a place of refuge, not only for ourselves but for all who enter. May you walk the path of love and wisdom, and may your home be a sanctuary of peace. The blessings of a cleansed home and heart. When we free our homes from what no longer serves us, broken things, unnecessary clutter, gifts with painful memories, objects carrying negative energy, and, most importantly, anger and resentment, we do not simply change the space we live in, we transform our very existence. A home cleansed of unnecessary burdens becomes a place of clarity and lightness. A mind freed from attachments and negativity becomes a source of wisdom and peace. This is not merely about tidying our physical surroundings, it is about aligning our external world with our internal well-being. The 5 blessings that arise when we let go. 1. A space of harmony and clarity. When we remove broken and unnecessary objects, our environment becomes lighter, allowing energy to flow freely. We feel more at ease, more inspired, and more connected to the present moment. 2. A mind free from the past. By letting go of objects that hold painful memories, we release the emotional weight of the past. We no longer live in regret or sorrow but embrace the new opportunities that each day brings. 3. A home filled with positive energy. When we remove items that carry negative energy, we create a sacred space that nurtures peace. Our home becomes a sanctuary, where every object serves a purpose and radiates warmth. 4. A heart that knows forgiveness and love. Letting go of resentment and anger liberates us from suffering. We replace conflict with understanding, irritation with patience, and harshness with compassion. The relationships within our home flourish, bringing deeper connection and joy. 5. A life aligned with simplicity and true happiness. When we clear what is unnecessary, we discover what truly matters. We no longer seek fulfillment in excess but in gratitude and contentment. A simple, mindful life leads to an abundance of peace. The ultimate transformation, from house to home, from shelter to sanctuary. A house is simply a structure of walls and a roof. A home is a place of warmth, love, and safety. When we let go of what burdens us, we do not just change our living space, we change our hearts. This is the wisdom of non-attachment, the path of true liberation. We are not made heavy by what we lack, but by what we refuse to release. When we surrender the unnecessary, we gain everything that truly matters: clarity, peace, love, and freedom. May your home be filled with lightness, your mind be free from burdens, and your heart overflow with compassion. This is the way of inner and outer harmony. This is the way to true peace. Now that you have seen what must be released, reflect for a moment what in your home, and in your heart, are you still holding on to? What weighs you down, yet serves no purpose? What burdens you, yet you hesitate to let go? A home free from broken things is a home of renewal. A mind free from clutter is a mind of clarity. A heart unburdened by anger and resentment is a heart at peace. When we remove what no longer serves us, we are not left with emptiness, we are left with space for wisdom, for kindness, for joy. Now, I ask you, what will you release today? Share your thoughts in the comments below, for in speaking our intentions, we bring them closer to reality. And if this teaching has resonated with you, if you seek more wisdom along your path, I invite you to support this journey. Like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to Lotus of Dharma so that together, we may continue walking the path of clarity and liberation. May your home be a place of peace. May your heart be light. May you always walk the path of wisdom.